we keep it to 5 minutes, and I'll remind them, in our initial meeting, that we need to keep it to 5 minutes. And if they want a conference, they can set up a conference. They can call here. We can set up a conference, and we'll be happy to have a conference with you. It's time for our, I know we've done our faculty and staff climate survey. We've got to set up to do for our students, and then we'll set up the media center tonight for the parents. So we'll encourage the parents, if they would, swing by the media center and do the climate survey. I think the faculty and staff is already, we've already done it through Schoology. For some of y'all, I still don't have your Schoology codes. So if you have not sent me your Schoology codes, please send me your Schoology codes. So I try to go on, it doesn't let me go on. So if you have not sent me those codes by now, please send me those Schoology codes. Some of y'all are doing y'all got that Schoology jumping all over the place, and I do appreciate that. Students are using it. Getting a lot of positive feedback from that. So maybe something that next year we'll look to purchase the main one, because I know it is compatible now, I think, with Infinite Campus. So when you put grades in, it feeds through, and you know, when you buy it, of course, you get the Cadillac version of it. The version that we have just will give us a little taste of it, and then if you purchase it, then you get a lot more things that you can do. For an example, you don't have to, your class rosters will automatically go in, and you don't have to do all that. Each code, each student. So there's a lot of stuff with the purchase one. We'll talk about that and see if that's something we want to do. Remember, on our debriefings, when we do our debriefings, remember, from those debriefings, that's where we get on your teach 5 and 6, 4, 5, and 6. Between halt time, which is your differentiation, and then your debriefings, which is 5 and 6, which talks about how you use assessments, what we do with assessments, and things like that. So that's where you'll get your code as far as the standards 4, 5, and 6, mainly from your debriefings. Remember, in our halt time, that's the time we're supposed to be looking. That's where we get our differentiated instruction from. We have that automatically built in, so that differentiation won't be an issue. So we know as when we're doing our walkthroughs and we're looking for comments on 4, then all we should have to do is look at our halt time schedule, and when we go in there, we should see differentiation going on. And that's where you teach, that's where we're gonna get it from. So it's no longer, it takes the guesswork out of it. That's why it was put into the schedule like it is, so we can cover standard 4 as well. Portfolios, I was talking to, I guess it was a advisory team with somebody, and I think there's a misconception about failing students. If a student failed a class, a student failed the class. What the purpose of the portfolio is, so that if we have a conference, we're able to show that we've done everything that we were supposed to do to make that student successful. So if a student fails, and portfolio should be a living and breathing thing where it should be available upon request. So if a student is not doing the work and they're not doing what they're supposed to, then of course they fail a class. But we have to be able to show in a requested parent conference that we've done all that we're supposed to do, contact the parent, and do everything that we were supposed to do to make that student successful. So it's not that I don't, of course I'm concerned about the failure rate and stuff like that, of course, but the thing is, if a student is not doing their work, then then they're not doing their work. But we cannot get in a conference and have a parent say that I ain't know nothing about it. I ain't heard from the teacher, I hadn't, you know, I didn't know anything about it. Then they flip everything on us. That's the whole purpose of those portfolios, to show those artifacts. And you all, for the most part, you all do a fantastic job, but even if we're at a parent conference and we bring those portfolios, how it changes the dynamic of that conference and it changes the conversation. All right, and that's the purpose of that. Also, the parent portal, make sure, and all of this is in the handbook, make sure that in the parent portal that we're inputting those grades. I got a request from a conference, and I don't know, I just saw it this morning, about some stuff being put late into the portal. You know, for our concerned parents, you know, me being one of them with a daughter in the middle school who looks at that portal, you know, I don't want to look today and see a grade from August put in there that I knew nothing about. So just make sure, and it's in the handbook of the turnaround time that we ought to have those grades in that portal. And we've always done a good job with that. Just wanted to remind you. Because it's progress report time. And you know, the worst thing you can do with progress reports is start throwing grades in the, if it's my child, or those of you that's parents that have children either in the high school or the middle school or elementary school, and we're tracking grades, and I'm thinking, okay, Ashley is fine, and then all of a sudden, a 0 or 15 or some appears in the portal, and all of a sudden the grade that I thought she had, her progress report, drops and bottoms out. Of course I'm not going to be happy about that, you know, and neither would you. So let's be mindful and let's get those grades in there as quickly as possible so the parents are, that's one way that we do inform the parents and keep the parents aware. Please, every week, continue to check the duty roster. You know, we got to check. Y'all know it changes every week, so just check and make sure that that you're not on there, so we're not missing duty and then have to make it up. Okay, Ms. Erie, you want to talk about, I know y'all sending your test to Ms. Ingram, and she's looking at the test. You want to make some comments?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of tests, and I appreciate you guys sending them to me. On TEKS and LEAKS, we have 2 sections because we can't be in your classrooms constantly, especially those of you that are on the flexible process. You don't have that many walkthroughs. So what we're having to do is we're having to go in, and you have 2 sections. One is instructional planning, and one is an academically challenging environment. So what we're doing is we're taking your instructional plan and then we're looking at your lesson plans and stuff like that, and then we look at the rigor of the lesson plans and the tests to use for your academically challenging environment. So I wanted to talk to everybody about that again before we start using them and marking them on TEKS. I'm getting a lot of tests, and a lot of them are fine, and you guys are using stuff from GoFar. Some of you are on it, your tickets out the door, GoFar, and you're fine. But a lot of tests that I'm getting, and I wanted to address this with everybody because it's a lot instead of, I've only got a minority using GoFar and Milestone Align. But a lot of them I'm getting the who, what, when, where, why, how. You know, who is the main character, why did they do this? You know, or what is this mineral, why is it important? You know, we need to be using those words that are on the milestone. Now, some people ask me questions, well, what if I don't have a milestone? If you teach let's say just a 10th grade science, and you don't have a milestone, they're gonna have one the next year. So what we need to do is be using a milestone platform-based DOK level question so that we can prep them for the next year. Because it's like Dr. Hint said the other day, if they only have a 6th grade milestone in math, we don't just wait till 6th grade to start teaching math, okay? We're really looking at these tests. She's asking me for examples, and I can't explain it to her if it's not there. And that's the kind of stuff that we're looking at. But again, go to, and I know Ms. Gilbert gave these handouts when she was here. I know I gave them, and Ms. Watts gave them last year. We printed them out. Go to the DOE website, and at the top of the webpage, it says Curriculum and Instruction. When you click on Curriculum and Instruction, underneath that, you go to Georgia Milestone Assessment System. Now, when that page comes up, and remember it's parent friendly also, when that page comes up, down on the far bottom on the right side, you're going to see EOG study guides and EOC. You guys are EOC because you're end of course. You're not grade specific, okay? When you click on that EOC, then it's going to give you a list of all your high school classes. You click on the high school class that you teach or you're related to in that department, and it's going to pull up that study guide for that test. And I'm going to be honest with you, what you see in English, the skills are all the same as what you're going to see in science. In math, you're going to justify, you're going to explain, you're going to analyze, you're going to describe, okay? But they're going to give you different cues, okay? So go in there and you're going to go to that page where it says DOK charts. And it's going to give you DOK 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's going to tell you there are DOK 1 questions on the milestone. It's going to give you the cue for your subject area and the keywords you need to be asking in your classroom, okay? Look at those because it's taken a lot, and I know some of you have sent tests and I haven't sent them back yet because I'm having to go through all of them and change them around. Just go to that chart and it's really simple, you know, what is a sedimentary rock and why is it important, you know, define what a sedimentary rock is and give reasons or describe, you know, why it's important and so forth. We just got to change our words. Your content is fine. It's just, again, our wordage in there. The second thing is we're using the lesson plans for your instructional planning, but we also, guys, have striving readers. And we get monitored on this stuff, and I know a lot of you are going with me next week. I've got to take my artifacts with me. But right now I'm having to dig because in our lesson plans, we have to specify, remember I added those 2 columns for reading strategy and technology. Guys, we got it approved for a lot more money in technology, and I don't think a lot of you realize that, but we got it approved for a lot more money in technology than what they had originally given us, a lot. So I got to justify, they want to see what are we doing with technology and stuff. Some of you are putting it in there, but they're not going to dig through and look. They want to just see it in that column. And I got people that have submitted lesson plans for 2 or 3 weeks, and there's nothing in the reading column and there's nothing in the technology column. And so I really need you, and I know some of you are using technology, and I know y'all are reading, but we just got to specify it in those columns because at the end, when I have to download my artifacts, I can't change them for you. So please just go in and, you know, put that, because they're really watching this because like I said, it took 4 weeks of begging and rewriting to get that amount of money approved, and so they want to see that we're doing it. So that was the 2 things that I really wanted to address and talk about.
And even if you don't have a milestone, you still have standards, and those standards have certain terms. It's still language of the standard. It don't matter if I have a milestone or not. And that's the language we have to start using to get these students used to that vocabulary and those words. So when they do see it in a milestone, they know what these words mean and they know how to answer those questions. That's the whole thing with the literacy thing, because if I mean, y'all know if I read a question, I don't know what the word means, then you know, especially when you ask me to explain it. You know, the days of circling A, B, and C without explaining is gone. So anything that we do, they have to explain how they got the answer, and like I said before, I don't know if I said it in this setting, but you know, I don't care if you take a test and have 5 questions on there, and it's to that level, because you have to grade them. You have to give yourself time to grade them, especially when it's a lot of writing involved. You know, don't give a 20-question test. You know, break it up into small chunks, and that way the questions are at that level, and then you're also giving yourself time to grade them. Because I can give a 20 question or 30 question multiple choice test, and it doesn't do any good when you get them ready for the SLO or the milestone, and they have to explain stuff. So I'd rather do I'd rather you do a short test with that level of rigor than a long test and it's all recall. When you're talking about getting the students used to those type of questions. And that's what we have to, that's one of the things that it's fine with me. But if we've got that level of questioning, and I know, like I said, when you're talking about all those kids and all those kids explaining and all of that, you don't have enough time in the day to give them 20 questions like that,
And I'll say, looking at the tests that you guys are sending me, the tests y'all are really getting, like with the tests and the explaining and the writing, it's really changed a lot. I think they're lining up with I think it's gotten so much better. I just think like I said, the test I'm looking at, they have it. We just gotta tweak 1 or 2 words to make it be this DOK level, but,
and you put the feedback. All right, any concerns or anything that I need to be aware of? All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.